Not gonna lie, boys, one of the most expensive months in Nikke, not even like money-wise, that who fucking cares about it, right? I'm talking just purely from the perspective of actually investing in all three characters, even though I only got the gear to level 0 on all of them. I still got everyone that skills leveled up, everyone overloaded, everyone with it all. So a little bit expensive, right? And we also tried to reroll for all of them. Bestie got 3 elemental, Emma got 4 attack, couple elemental, and what was the only one with bad rolls, not decent-ish roll. They don't have good rolls, right? That said, let's talk a little bit about where they are on the tier list and the final verdict and the reviews on all 3 of them. I thought about making separate videos, but then I was like, what for? Let's wait until we have all 3 of them. We can test, we can see what we plan on doing with them and where we put them on the tier list. So, with that introduction out of the way, hello there, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, of course, is going to be everyone's favorite first trio in the game. The Elysian new Absolute Girls. So as you can see, all of them invested, all of them overloaded. SR phase 0 for Emma and Enwa, level 0 gear. When it comes to their skills, 777 on both Enwa and Emma, and then 710 for my bestie. I've already shared plenty of damage numbers on my previous videos if you want to check those. I'm not going to be showing damage numbers in this video. I'm just going to be talking a little bit about their pros, how to build them, their cons, and if I would pull or not for them. And I think we can start with that actually, because I just cannot recommend pulling for them at the moment. The only 2 that I will recommend, like, okay, you can be pulling for them, is going to be the duo. I'm putting the duo on T1 as good units for one simple reason. If we talk about just pure support characters, they are decent characters, they are decent supports. They have a few issues, right? Clearly, we're talking about characters that favor true damage and rocket launchers and snipers, and also characters from their same squad. But you can still put them as general supports, and they are really good for that. For most content, if we're talking about high deficit pushing, I would not go with them. If we're talking about raids, you can still use them because most people, just like me, like having healers and supports, right? And they do that fantastically. They do give good buffs. I think it's the best healings out of all of the duos because it's constant. Enwa also has the concealment, so she's pretty safe all the time. Maybe Blanc has better heals, because indomitability plus the heal on the burst, but I'm not sure. I think they are more consistent than bunnies. Again, that's what I'm putting them on T1, just based purely on how good as supports they are. That said, let's talk a little bit about how to build Emma and Enwa, and then we'll talk about Bestie lastly, because as you can see, she's not in T1 and she's not in T0. So let me put this a little bit higher. There we go. We talk about Emma, there's a few things. Actually, for all of these characters, by the way, skill 1, the increasing percentages that you are getting is not worth going past level 4. You could be going on both of them, Emma and Enwa, 7, 10, 10, but you can just keep them at 4, 7, 7 and it works already. Considering you have to invest in 2 characters if you wanted to, it's kind of expensive. So I will keep them 4, 7, 7, and then if you really like them, you could be going for like a 7, 10, 10. But I am not using more of my resources because we already used a lot on this patch, right? So 477 for the skills on both Emma and Enwa. When it comes to the build on Emma specifically, of course, just like any machine gun in the game, if you get enough max ammo capacity lines, you want to go Bastion. If not, you want to go Resilience. I didn't get enough, I'm going Resilience because all machine guns are pretty slow to reload, 2.5 seconds, nothing new in there. When it comes to her gear, actually, I hope you guys can read this, by the way. I hope this is like big enough. When it comes to her gear, funny enough, this is a character that actually benefits from getting decent lines, both attack and elemental, and then the max ammo, because a lot of her buffs are final attack. Elemental is just for elemental content, but attack is actually pretty good for her. Just for her other buffs. She is the one doing the least damage out of the 3, but still is putting out decent numbers. She can do nice numbers. But that's how I will be building her right now. Elemental, attack, and then max ammo. If you can only prioritize 2 of them, max ammo and attack are the priority, elemental the least one, right? And then everything else is kind of feels like a filler. You don't need anything else. When it comes to the pros and the cons, are pretty similar on both of them, okay? So first one is that when paired with Enwa, right, they are great supporters that can be used on any type of content regardless of true damage or rocket launcher sniper rifles. Of course, true damage will always be better for them if you put them with your Laplace Treasure, if you put them with your Ain, if you put them with characters like that. But you can put them on any team and they will be working. But of course, right, it's going to just depend on the content. I think getting more options in one hand is good because you get more options for supporters to use overall and new players. On the other, so specialized with how expensive it is and how little resources we get, because that's the problem. The resources we get is not that good, right? It's not that good. The second pro is that both of them are pretty cheap to build if you just want them to work, right? 477 in both of them is fantastic. And then her sustain is the best in the game when it comes to duos, bunnies, JKs, etc. since it has 100% uptime. Like I was saying, Blank might be close to, maybe better, depending on the boss or what you're doing. But her indomitability is only for one character, but she is a better waifu in my opinion, so it's fine. And then when it comes to her cons, clearly, right, without Enwa, it's not even worth building her, like you cannot use her. And then without Enwa, she will kill herself. Emma will kill herself because remember that she has a white screen taunt for some reason that does only disappear if you're using her with Enwa. So in that regard, with Enwa, it's really hard to define using her. Then of course, if you're using the trio, team compositions are also a little bit limited because you need to put a CDR of burst, and that leaves only one spot for another DPS. Like if you're using the trio for raids, right, which will be used for most likely the really try-hard people, right, the top-end players. You have your Emma, you have your M1, and then you have your Bestie. Now you need the CDR. Let's assume it's going to be Declare Wife. Most likely it's not, but let's assume it's Declare Wife. Maybe it's Little and you're bursting with her, Emma of Burst. Whatever it is, right? You need the CDR. This leaves us one spot for one DPS. If you bring a support in here, let's say your Fire Ray, for example, right? Because Fire Ray will probably be the best spot right here. Already you are dependent on the damage from Bestie and M1. Because that Ray is not going to be doing damage, right? So it's kind of XD. If the boss has core, with the best team, right? If you are putting your Asuka in here. But again, it just depends on what you're doing, because you are not going to be wasting your Mihara or your Rapio on this team. It will be a complete waste. So, team compositions are really limited when it comes to this trio, but it is what it is. And then lastly, at the time of her release, there is barely any true damage DPS units that can take advantage of these boosts. I think this is obvious, right? But right now there is like 2, 3 actually, if we also count Bestie as the new one. But that's it about Emma. Let's actually go and talk a little bit about Enwa. This should be faster since they share a lot of the stuff like I was saying earlier. The reason I'm recommending instead of a 477, 71010 maybe long term for Enwa is that she is a DPS. She's a DPS, like she's a support for the team, but she's also a really good DPS on her own. So if you can only, invest into one of them or 2 of them, your Emma will get low investment to work as a support, and then your Bestie and your Enwa are the ones that want more investment in order to get more damage out of them. Nothing else. But again, it's expensive, so up to you. Mine right now is a 774 because I am poor. I just don't want to use more resources on this trio. I've already did enough. That said, when it comes to review, Resilience Q for faster reload times, nothing new or interesting in here, okay? Just like most characters with a long reload time, because they don't have reload speed buffs, so you want to be going for Resilience over Bastion. And then since she is a DPS, usual build, Elemental, Attack, Max Ammo. Filler lines, either crit or charge speed, charge damage. She's like a pretty simple character, I'm gonna be honest. Like outside their kit requiring them to be together, they are pretty simple characters to build. When it comes to pros, there is 2 that are different than Emma. First one is that not only she is a great buffer, but her own personal damage is really good. And the second is that concealment will make her survivability a lot better because she cannot be targeted. Now the problem with this, my biggest problem is that shift up. Please, can we call this the same thing every single time? Why is camouflage in here? But on Rosanna, this is called concealment instead of camouflage. Hey, some consistency, please. Remember that the splash damage or AoE damage can actually remove this concealment. So that's like the only thing to take into consideration, mostly for PvP rather than PvE. And then the cons are literally the same as Emma, so I'm not gonna be repeating them because there is no reason to. The same cons for both of them. And then that out of the way, we can talk about what everyone was waiting probably. And I know some people are gonna be tilted with this placement on the tier list. But here's the thing, the way I see Bestie, she is just like a Snow White. It's a character, actually she's worse than a Snow White. It's a character that, yeah, she can do good damage. Yes, it's a character you can invest into, but you need to invest into a whole team and you will only use it on a specific raids from time to time. When Shift Up decides to release a raid that's weak to fire or where true damage can be taken advantage of. So in my opinion, it's clearly a fucking niche character, nothing else. It's a good unit, it's not bad. Like, considering some of the characters we have in the game, I don't think it's the worst, right? Like, there are clearly worse characters in the game. That said, let's talk a little bit about how to build Bestie and the pros and the cons that we added for her. Bestie is pretty similar to the other two in terms of investment. Like I was saying earlier, like all of them are simple to build. Like if you ignore that their kit requires all of them to be together, they are simple to build. Bestie is a 4-7-7 or a 4-10-10-10. I would not go past level 4 because the charge damage you are getting is not that, there is not that big of an increase. I think it's like a 10% that you are missing from level 4 to level 10, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's worth going past level 4 because this only activates on your first time you are shooting on each magazine. So you reload, the first shoot you are doing, which is 4 missiles, will get this. You are not getting it again until, of course, you reload again. So that's like a 4-7-7 or a 4-10-10-10 if you're going all in. When it comes to her build, she's pretty simple. The only thing to take into consideration, outside of the cube, same as the other girls, in my opinion, Resilience better than Bastion, is that the max ammunition that she has to be in multiples of 4. Because she is shooting 4 times. And we cannot see this on here because the preview is different because, well, shift up. But every time she shoots, she's shooting 4 missiles instead of 1. So that's what you want to be having, multiples of 4s, if you can, to avoid problems in terms of wasting ammunition. But it's something for main maxers, it's not something that most people really need to worry about, right? So of course the max ammo, elemental, and attack, and then the filler lines can be either related to crit or charge speed, charge damage. We tested a 3 charge speed Bestie. There wasn't that big of an increase. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. Like I don't think it's worth rerolling for 3 or 4 charge speed lines. I just think it's a filler line. And when it comes to pros, I can't find a single pro for her. I can't because this is a character that if we're not talking about PvP, because I don't do PvP, I don't care about PvP, right? If we're talking PvE, she has nothing going on for her. Yes, does she work? Yeah, she works. She's a DPS you can use if you build 3 characters and the boss can benefit or you can benefit from the true damage boost. If not, why would you be using her? There is nothing for her. So the only thing that I can find is that she's a cheap damage dealer to build if you ignore the fact that you need another 2 characters for that, right? And then when it comes to the cons, I didn't want to be too harsh. I didn't want to put like 30 cons in here. So I just put 2 of them, okay? First, she needs both Enwa and Emma. And in fact, if you guys go into the flags, I added for Bestie that she needs both of them. But when it comes to Emma and Enwa, I only require the other one. So they are a duo, while for Bestie, I'm asking for both of them. That's the first thing. And then the other is that, like I was saying, she's not a bad DPS, but it's just too fucking expensive. There is like 0 reasons to be building her. There is for most people. Of course, if you are someone who is really into PvE, into raids, into getting those top ranks, you will be investing in them for Cs. But outside of that, I see no reason. I just cannot even recommend pulling for them. If you pull, even pulling the duo, it's really fucking expensive. Just to have the copium of, okay guys, we might be getting some true damage characters next, which might happen. It's shift up, and we all know that they do this a lot of the times, but it's copium. We don't know what they'll do. So if you can only afford to pull, I will say it's the duo, but then again, it's really expensive. So I will say just wait and put them on the wishlist. Don't be like me. I used 600 tickets on the last couple of hours, I believe. So I will not waste resources too hard on them. All that jumping aside, that is where they are on the tier list right now. Bestie, it's a T2 character, while the duo, it's a T1 character. A lot of placements that can go up and down. You will know tier list should be only used as a reference, so take it as that. That said, do let me know if you guys agree or not. All that said, we are live every single day. Links in the description down below. Good luck with your pool dinner rates. I'll see you later.